Every night at precisely 12:07 a.m., a package would arrive at my doorstep. What started as an inconvenience soon became a mystery, and then a full-blown obsession. It all began when I moved into this apartment. The previous tenant had apparently left without paying her electric bill because the second that I turned on the overhead light in the kitchen, it sparked, and then the whole apartment went dark. I tried calling the landlord, but it went straight to voicemail. Of course, I could have just waited until morning to call him from a neighbor's apartment. But being the impatient type, I decided to climb out onto the fire escape and shimmy over to the apartment next door. When I knocked on the neighbor's door, a woman opened it and I explained my situation. She let me come in, use her phone, and even made me a cup of tea while I waited for the landlord to pick up. But when he finally did, he told me that he didn't know when the power would be fixed. And that was when I hatched my plan. I went back to my apartment, grabbed my mattress, and made a nest on the floor. I figured that if I was going to be stuck in the dark, I may as well be comfortable. That's when I heard the sound of footsteps outside. I looked out the window and saw a man holding a package. It was clearly addressed to me. Who could it be from? My mom? She doesn't even know I've moved. Maybe it was a mistake. When I opened the door, the man simply said, "Sorry, wrong apartment," and walked away. But when I looked down at the package, I realized that it wasn't addressed. In fact, there was no return address or stamp. Confusion bubbled inside me, but I couldn't let it take over. I mean, what was I going to do? Call the police? Tell them to investigate a missing stamp? No, I just needed to focus on getting some sleep. But as soon as I closed the door behind the mysterious delivery man, something else crashed through it. A vase. I jumped and nearly knocked myself out. Holding back tears, I called the police and told them about the vase and the package. The nice officer on the phone asked if anything was in the package, something that could explain why someone might send it to my apartment. And that's when I saw it. A photograph of a smiling young woman holding the very same vase. On the back, there was a name, Sarah. So the photo was probably from Sarah, but who was she? Was she the one who had sent the package? The officer told me to hold on while he checked the address, and moments later he came back with an update. Apparently, Sarah lived in my apartment building, but nobody by that name has lived here, or ever has. Confused, I opened the package to find a woman's silver ring inside. It was beautiful, but how could it possibly be connected to me? I felt like I was unraveling a huge mystery novel, except this time I was the main character. But the story had taken a sharp turn, one that left me even more puzzled than before. I kept the ring, hoping that it would lead me to answers, but it didn't. Instead, it led to more questions. If this was meant for me, why? And where was the sender now? Determined to find her, I contacted the only person who might know more, the landlord. He was surprisingly responsive this time, perhaps because I was now treading dangerous grounds, and he didn't want to get dragged into it. When I asked him about Sarah, he told me that he knew her, and that she lived in my apartment years ago. But she mysteriously disappeared one day, and never paid her final bill. He also mentioned that she used to receive strange packages at midnight, the same ones that I had received. With newfound purpose, I set out to uncover what had happened to Sarah, poring over old yearbooks and scouring social media. Days turned into weeks with no solid leads. Just when I was about to give up, I found a breakthrough. A mutual friend of ours posted a cryptic message on Facebook, one that hinted at Sarah's whereabouts. She agreed to meet me at a local cafe, and over cups of coffee she told me everything she knew. Sarah had always been a bit of a loner, but after high school she started acting even stranger. She became obsessed with online shopping, ordering expensive items that she couldn't really afford. Then one day, she vanished. Her bank account was drained and there was no trace of her anywhere. But the strangest part, the friend told me that Sarah had received a package just like mine, every night for weeks before she disappeared. And then one night the delivery stopped. Just like in my case, I thanked her for her help, but I still had more questions than answers. Who was sending those packages and why? And most importantly, why did they stop? I didn't know it then, but the truth was about to be revealed in the most unexpected way possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned for more content. But the truth was about to be revealed in the most unexpected way possible. That night, at exactly 12:07 a.m., I waited by the door, clutching the ring in one hand and a flashlight in the other. The hallway outside was dead silent, but then I heard it, the same soft, deliberate footsteps. When I opened the door, I expected the delivery man, but this time, it wasn't a man at all. It was Sarah, or someone who looked exactly like her. She stood there barefoot, wearing a vintage floral dress, her hair wild and her eyes distant, like someone lost in time. I froze, unsure if I was seeing a ghost or a living person. Before I could say anything, she held out a package, placed it gently in my hands, and whispered, "Don't open this one. Not yet." Then, without another word, she turned and walked away, straight through the wall at the end of the hallway. Gone. The air turned cold. I felt my heartbeat in my throat. I wanted to throw the package, to run, to scream, but curiosity had its claws in me. I placed it on the table and stared at it for hours. Morning light crept through the blinds before I dared to open it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten. It read, "If you're reading this, you've inherited more than an apartment. You've inherited a debt, one I tried to escape, one they won't let go unpaid." Beneath it, a second note, this one typed, "Deliver one package each night, or become one." And underneath that, my name, already printed. It wasn't a delivery service, it was a ritual, a curse. Now I'm the one walking the halls at midnight, knocking on strangers' doors, delivering boxes I don't understand, hoping I'm not sending someone else down the same rabbit hole. The ring still fits my finger, and every night it tightens just a little more. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned. The next delivery might be yours. The final package. After weeks of delivering the midnight boxes, I'd had enough. The ring cut into my skin now, my finger swollen, purple. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't living. I was just delivering. But then something changed. One night, the package didn't arrive at 12:07. No knock, no footsteps, just silence. I waited, heart thudding like a warning drum. Then at 12:13, a new sound, a knock from inside my apartment. I turned slowly. There, on my kitchen table, sat a box. Same shape, same weight. But for the first time, it had my name on it. Inside, a small key, no note, no instructions. But the ring on my finger loosened. I started investigating again, piecing together the history. Every previous tenant, Sarah included, had vanished after refusing to deliver a package. That's how the curse claimed them. But none had ever received a key. I traced the strange markings on the key S handle and discovered they matched an old maintenance hatch in the building S basement, the one locked with rusted chains and a sign that read, "Do not enter, risk of collapse." I broke the lock, descended. What I found beneath the building was impossible. A mailroom, dust-covered, ancient, with rows of unmarked packages and hundreds of photos pinned to the wall. Some black and white, some fresh. All of us, every cursed tenant. In the center sat a chair, and on that chair, a box cutter and a burned journal. The journal belonged to the first tenant, someone named Marcus Hale, who described how he made a deal with a courier from beyond in exchange for immortality. The price? Eternal deliveries. But the last page had a message scrawled in shaky handwriting. Return what was never yours and the cycle breaks. But beware, the courier does not forgive. I gathered every unclaimed package, every cursed item, the ring, the key, even the vase from that first night. And I placed them all back in a single box. At 12:07 the next night, I didn't open the door. Instead, I left that box on the doorstep, with a note of my own. This delivery ends here. The ring dissolved into ash, and the door stayed quiet. For the first time in weeks, I slept. But every night since, I checked the clock. 12:07 a.m. Still quiet, for now.